No one knows. Like you look at Denny, CEO of Cloudhead Games, Pistol Whip, The Gallery, Aperture Hand Labs. He says a lot of stuff all the time. He's still figuring it out. They don't know. There's no cookie cutter answer to what works for a game. So if you're focusing on the aspects of what works for a VR game, it's probably not where to start because no one knows what works. But a story is always solid. Why? Why is Star Wars so popular still? Episode 4, 5, and 6 were solid. Let's be honest. 1, 2, and 3, 7, 8, 9, sometimes they're shit. But why do we still care? Why do people still line up at the door to watch Star Wars, even though maybe the original three have never been succeeded? It's because they built a narrative that people care about. The story mattered. That's what you need to do in a VR game, in my opinion, right now to win people over. Make people care about why they are embodying the person. The mechanics, figure it out. There's no cookie cutter response. But if you can nail a story, you can win people's hearts. Don't buy people's hearts with some crazy mechanic that you think is going to be revolutionary. Don't buy their hearts. Win their hearts. I don't think that's controversial. Sean, what's going on, my man?
Hello. Hi, Eric. Firstly, I wanted to say I really like your Attack on Titan tattoo.
This is for my son Levi, guys.
That's great. Okay. This is controversial, but I
Okay.
think virtual reality is overrated.
Go on, man. The floor is yours. I'd like to hear it. I think this is important. Please listen to him, guys.
So like when the Oculus Quest first came out, I bought it. It was like very exciting for like a few weeks and then it just died. Like all the games are expensive, like honestly not that like amazing right now.
Can I ask you this question? So, when you bought yours, what was the reason for buying it? Was it your own self-interest of being interested in it? And by the way, let me change this background. I'm kind of over the fireside chat. Let's go back to VR is dead.
Yeah.
Cardboard. What did you get into VR because you were intrinsically interested in it, or was it maybe the social media beating you down and you went for it? What was your reason of getting into it?
My friends were like convincing me to get VR because they all had it. And honestly, I regret it a little. I haven't enjoyed it that much right now. But I feel like one day, like in the future, it's gonna get way better.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Now
Yeah.
it's not really the time.
So I think that brings up, it was a while ago in this conversation, but I remember someone brought up about being sold on VR. That might be the wrong word, but there was definitely a conversation going on maybe about 30 minutes ago about overhyping, talking, and getting people bought into VR, pushing it on them compared to the internet where people naturally adopted it. And you might be a great example of when pushing it isn't the right way to go. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Well, how were you? Give us the story. Like, how were you sold on VR? Like, what were your friends saying? What were your thoughts before ever trying it compared to trying it? Give us the story
Yeah.
of someone, because I think this is super important to harp on, because if we're gonna sell VR, we can't just sell it, they buy it, and that's the end of the story. Your story is important of what happens when someone buys into the dream. What's the outcome? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my friends like all got VR. They tried like I played on their headsets. They tried convincing me to get my own. I didn't really like it. Then I like went on the YouTube path and I started watching videos and like you came up to you were one of the first people I watched about VR.
Thank you.
And then it like started convincing me. It looked fun. It looked interesting. So I got it, and like I was very disappointed.
In what way? Explain. I believe you. Like, I'm not. This is not me asking you to defend your disappointment. But I like to quantify it. What was the expectation versus reality? What specifically was the disappointment? Because I think that's important.
It might be just because I have the Oculus Quest. It's not like the best, most high-end like headset.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting like the highest end like headset. Like that's what my friends had. That's what I wanted, but I didn't get anything like that. And I think that ruined my perspective on VR.
What was the kind of first couple introductions to it? Like, what games?
Super Hot and Beat Saber were one of them. I played that a lot.
It
And then
seems to be the common thing most people.
Yeah. And then I got um the link cable, because I didn't have a PC when I first got the Quest, and then I built a PC, and then I bought the link cable,
Mm-hmm.
and like it just didn't work, and it like I just wished I never bought the Oculus Quest and got like a headset meant for PC VR.
Yeah. Coming from my side here on this channel, like it's a tough subject to hit. It is. Because obviously I've built a platform, and many people in VR who are on YouTube have built a platform of harping on why VR is the future, right?
Yeah,
So it's a tough subject to hit. But I think this is like, I'm really glad you're here, because this is a perfect example of what someone brought earlier about the internet wasn't really pushed onto people hard. People just naturally adopted it, figured it out as it went. But VR really is, and I will agree with that person. VR is pushed rather than naturally adopted. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I do think the tech kind of needs to be pushed right now for adoption. But people like you are a clear representation of what can happen when expectations are pushed that are not possibly reality.
Mhm.
So let's be a little proactive on this conversation. What do you need to see for this to meet your expectations?
I mean the Oculus Quest 2 really like pushed on the adoption thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I waited for VR until like the Quest 2 came out, or if I had a PC before, because I feel like that would have made it better for me.
I think that's fair.
And I'm not in the best financial situation to just run out and like buy another headset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would ever force it. Like you need to be like, VR is not cheap, right?
Yeah.
It's super expensive, and some people will say, well, like Quest is the same price as a PS5 or an Xbox, which I think they're a little more expensive, but what you're getting from those is different than what you're getting from VR.
Yeah, very.
You need to have a specific mindset when you get into VR. You need an early adopter mindset, let's be honest. But expecting people to have that mindset is a flawed premise. Just because someone is willing and able to have the mindset to be open to an early adopter mindset, that's not an expectation among everybody. And if you do expect that from everyone, I think you're in the wrong, personally. So what I would ask you to end this before I go on to the next person is hearing how call me out if I'm incorrect, but it sounds like you got into VR because you were interested, but also because you were introduced in social media by a lot of people to it. What would you tell people like myself, like other people who have been in here that are content creators? What do we need to talk about that would better set your expectations? Because that's important. What do people who are most vocal on social media right now about VR need to do better for people like yourself to not make them buy into something that they're not ready for?
I think people like that just set everyone's expectations way too high, like higher than it's supposed to be.
What specific, is there any like specific thing that you don't have to call out a person? I'm not asking you, don't call out anybody, but like what's a specific comment or something that you hear on the regular that like set that expectation wrong? Because I really would like people to hear this. It's important.
I mean, my friends, they probably like did that on purpose so I could get VR so we could all like play together.
Sure.
But they always like showed me and told me like it's great, it's worth it, you won't regret it. Like showed me their games and like convinced me to get it. I honestly think it's just like the Quest 2 and everything. Like the Oculus Quest is good, but it's not for everyone.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.